I believe we have begun. We are here. That's right, we are here with another character creation session for Curseborne. And I do believe that I went for the wrong thumbnail. I didn't change it because I've just seen it pop up on my phone. Yes, we have now got a very confusing thumbnail for this video. I apologise. I don't store images like that on my computer as a general rule. But it ties into one of the FMV games I've been playing on this channel. We'll forget about that. We'll move on. We can change it after the fact. Thank you very much, everybody, who is tuning in to watch another live character creation video. This week, we are creating a Sorcerer for Curseborne. And we've already decided on Sorcerer for one simple reason. One of the long-term viewers on this channel and someone who commented on the previous video, last week's Curseborne video, requested an archivist who works as an editor for a newspaper and decides what information to publish, so what secrets to release and what secrets to keep to himself. And I think that is an absolutely fantastic suggestion, so thank you very much, James Ellsbury, for that. And as always, I will apologise in advance for the machine gun typing. So, editor who hoards secrets will be the character type. Role path is going to be journalist. And family path is going to be archivist. That's right, we're getting straight into this one. And lineage path is going to be sorcerer. So look at that, we're already part of the way there. I suggest we should probably need to come up with a character name, but we don't need to immediately. So straight away, we already know what we're playing. But let's decide on whether we want sorcerer or archivist to be our major path. So first things first, we're going to break down exactly what the differences are for sorcerers. If I go for sorcerer as my character's major path, let's see. Lineage path as a major path, here's what I get. My path skills become artistry, enigmas, esoterica, science. I choose 3 of them. All perfectly natural skills for a sorcerer to have. My major path attributes, hello Vampire Castle Gaming, thank you very much for watching live. My major path attributes are mental 7, physical 1, social 2. That is a very weighted mental. Minor path attributes are mental 3, physical 1. And I'm doing very well, thank you Vampire Castle Gaming. I do hope you're doing very well too. If you're watching this live, leave a like. It isn't for my ego, it's so that the video propagates across other people's subscription feeds. Something I have to say in every single stream at this point is the way the algorithm on YouTube works now is if you like and if you leave a comment, it pops up in more people's subscription feeds. If no one likes, no one comments, it doesn't pop up at all. So that is my request to you. Please leave likes. Hammer that like button, as they say, the thumbs up. And yes, click thumbs up and leave your comments. And Link the Vampire says, woo, Sorcerer time. Vampire Castle Gaming says, you're welcome and is doing good. I'm very glad to hear it, Vampire Castle. You'll be very pleased to see the video I've got coming up next week about Vampire. Well, specifically about... it's about sex in RPGs, and the World of Darkness is touched upon. Anyway, where were we? We get on to the sorcerers and their major path inheritance. If we decide sorcerer is our major path, our inheritance becomes... The sorcerer's power comes with the weight of vast knowledge. No spell slinger worth their salt gets recognised by a family without proving their mental acumen. All sorcerers have a focused area of interest, even if they're not the wizened academic type. Choose a school of interest that acts as a refinement of an existing skill when you gain this inheritance, e.g. chemistry for science, cryptography for enigmas, etc. Whenever the sorcerer taps into her area of interest, she gains hits that apply before the roll equal to her entanglement on appropriate actions. This is a very important part of the game and something that comes up seldom. Applying hits in other games, you might refer to them as successes, before the dice are rolled. Being able to do this in our specialist field of journalism for, let's say, or interviews maybe, for enigmas or persuasion might be quite helpful. So that's if we choose Sorcerer as our major path. And Vampire Castle Gaming, you've never heard of Curseborne, do check it out. You can pre-order it on BackerKit. If you pre-order it during this video, if you go over to BackerKit now, it is linked below, and pre-order it, get in touch with me via MatthewDawkins.com and request a video of your choice. That's what I'm offering you right now. Now, that's if we go for Sorcerer as our major path. We know Archivist is our family, so the possible major path inheritance there... Oh, well, first let's look at the path skills. Culture, Enigmas, Esoterica, Larceny. We will pick 3 of them. In fact, we should make a note. In fact, let's go for, as we are a writer, Culture, Enigmas, I think, and Larceny. So we need to note that down. And likewise for Sorcerer, we're going to go for Artistry. And we're going to go for Enigmas again. I'm going to double up. It doesn't recommend that you double up, but I'm going to do it. Actually, no. You know what? I'm not. I'm going to go for Esoterica and Science. I was going to go for Enigmas twice, but I won't. So anyway, the Archivists... their major path attribute split is Mental 6, Physical 2, Social 2, which isn't a million miles away from the Sorcerer split. Minor path attributes Mental 3, Social 1, again, very similar. Their major path inheritance is you have a well of knowledge at your disposal, allowing you to dispense facts with ease. Once per session, you may ask the story guide 2 questions regarding the current situation, as if with 2 hits spent on the question and answer investigation trick, and they must answer you truthfully. This question must be something the character could possibly know through research, reading, or stranger methods, and can require more than a yes or no answer. For example, she may know the entire ownership history of the building the crew is standing on, or who a dead woman's grandmother is and why she's significant, but not why the woman was murdered in this building or who murdered her. So it feels to me both of these could be worthwhile. I am very tempted, though, to say we're going to go for Archivist as our major path, I think. That makes more sense. So that means we are going to get more skill points to spread on our Archivist skills than we are on our Sorcerer skills, but we'll get to that. Let's do our attributes first. So our split is going to be Mental 6, Physical 2, Social 2. We always start with 1, 1, 1 across all of them. So we're going to go for, I think, journalists have got to be a bit cunning, haven't they? So we've got 3 in there. 1, 2, so we'll put 1 more in Resolve. It helps to be resilient when you're an investigative journalist, I think. And as for Physical, we've only got 2 dots to spread here, but I think Dexterity makes the most sense. Hello, Alice Quinn. Thank you very much for tuning in live. And as for Social, we've got another 2 points there. Well, we're a journalist, so Manipulation and Composure. Presence is tempting, but I think I'm more about sneaking in and getting the information, and right now Sneaky is seems to be the way I'm playing this character. We're going to have access, I'm going to note these down, we're going to have access to a few practices of spells as an Archivist. We're going to have access to Illusion, we're going to have access to Spiritualism, and we're going to have access to Telelocation. So we'll come back to that at another point. And our major path inheritance is going to be, once per session, you may ask the story guide 2 questions regarding the current situation, as if with 2 hits spent on the question and answer investigation trick. There we go. That is our... Hello, Dove Sun Seed Sword, and thank you very much for fluttering onto the perch and watching. So we've already sorted out our inheritance. That's great. Great news. As for what motif we go to, yeah, we're jumping all over the place in character creation. I've mentioned, and Gail Haraz, of the 5 Asian women in the stream's thumbnail, that is for another game I've been playing on this YouTube channel. You can find it, 5 Hearts Under One Roof. It is absolutely insane, and I feel dirty just playing it. And I just failed to change the thumbnail before starting this stream. So it will be changed once the stream is done. So we could have our character be an Asian woman. Why not? Let's call her... let's go for... we'll go for Japanese, I think. We'll go for Yumiko Harada. There you go. That's our name. Why the hell not? And as for which motif we go for... yeah, I was talking about character creation, the order in which you play character creation. I play character creation in any damn order I want. There's a chapter in the book, of course, Making an Accursed in Curseborne, which takes you through it step by step, which makes perfect sense. If you're new to Curseborne, you want to follow it step by step. I've made a lot of characters for Curseborne at this point, as I'm sure you can imagine, as I have for a lot of RPGs. So I just make characters in the order I feel, and right now we're on Archivist's Motifs. So a motif is what gives them a singular advantage, a unique advantage over other spellcasters. We could choose that when casting spells with a psychic attunement, bleed 1 additional curse die to learn a single secret about someone you choose in the area. I think with the inheritance we've got, we don't really need that one. When casting a spell with a liminal attunement, if you hold at least 2 curse dice, you locate the nearest door to a liminality. Now that could be interesting. And when casting the telekinesis spell, advances that require the holding or bleeding of curse dice require 1 fewer held or bled curse die for each advance. Now I think the liminal one is probably going to be the most useful, so I'm going to put the motif here. And I'm going to make sure... Whoop, no one's going to be able to read that, are they? There we go. So, yeah, we are going to need to make sure we pick some spells with liminal attunement, but I've already got a few in mind. In answer to some questions, Vampire Castle Gaming says... I got one. How about elemental magic? There is indeed biomancy, and there are various elemental powers, especially the bombardment spell in this game, and sorcerers can access a lot of spells, as you can imagine. Archivists don't have access naturally to biomancy, but that doesn't mean they can't unlock it later on. Lockharty says, how exactly does the magic of sorcerers in Curseborne differ from those in World of Darkness? Well, the sorcerers in Curseborne don't have a completely free-form magic system. That's the easiest way to put it. But you have a hell of an expansive spell list with a lot of advances for each. If I were to put it in the frame of, let's say, disciplines from Vampire, every spell has numerous advances, much as disciplines have multiple dots. Sorcerers between them, I think, have access to some... I'm going to hazard a guess. It's somewhere like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I think it's around 35 base spells with about 3 to 5 advances on each. So they have a lot of access to magic. That's not to say that sorcerers won't have access to freeform magic at some point in Curseborne, but we're dealing with starting tier characters here. So anyway, we have assigned ourselves a motif. So let's go all the way back, because as I say, we are jumping around a little. Let's go all the way back to attributes now, because we didn't assign our sorcerer path attributes. Which, as this is minor, it's mental 3, physical 1. Well, I think we want to bump our cunning up, so that's by 1, our intellect by 1, and our resolve. Oh, and I didn't want to deduct that, by 1. So that's our 3 there. And I am going to put an additional 1 in stamina. Yes, we are playing an archetypal magic user in the sense that I am going to be a magical glass cannon. I will not be throwing my fists, and that's fine. That is absolutely fine. So, let's finally look at the role path. Well, our role path was journalist. We get 4 attribute dots from that too. I think I'm going to put 2 in manipulation, if I don't deduct them. 2 in manipulation, 1 in might, and 1 in composure. So my character, Yumiko Harada, is very much hide in the shadows because, as you can see, only 1 dot of presence. So she is never the center of attention, but this is the character we are going for. We start with 1 entanglement, which is our tier of power, and we start with 1 curse die, because that's what you start with at the start of the game, and curse dice fuel your spells. And the concept for this Sorcerer, Corbin, is a journalist or editor who hoards secrets. So the editor gets all of the stories in at the newspaper or the news website and releases some but keeps others, because sorcerers, especially archivists, love their secrets. As for creating your own spells in this game, Lockhearty, not at this tier of play, but stay tuned. If you are interested in creating your own spells in Storypath Ultra, which is the system Curseborne uses, you are probably going to want to have a look at The World Below at some point, because The World Below has a whole freeform magic system in it called Chaos. It even has, if you enjoy Paradox Backlashes and Major Ascension, it has Chaotic Retaliations, which are, as you'd imagine, retaliations from using magic in very chaotic ways. FMLH says, I love a good glass cannon. A glass cannon gets all the secrets. That is what we want. Yes, indeed, Link. Okay. So, we have finished up with attributes. Let's jump over to skills now. We need to pick 3 skills for being a journalist too, and I always put a base of 1 dot in all skills. This is just my choice. You don't have to put a base of 1 dot in all the skills associated with your path. It's just how I tend to build characters. I prefer weaker characters to start with, because I actually enjoy failing when my character first starts out. It then gives me a feeling of my characters are advancing as the game goes on. So as a journalist, I'm thinking empathy, I'm thinking persuasion is very important, and I'm thinking athletics to get away from things rapidly. You went for enigmas, culture, and persuasion, Corbin. We've already got enigmas and culture, so I didn't want to double up in this case, but I've gone for persuasion there. So, at this point, how many points do we split between our path skills? Well, if it's a major path, so Archivist, it's 6 skill dots. And the Archivist was our major path, and their skills, if we remember, in this case, we chose enigmas, we chose culture, and we chose larceny. So we're going to get 6 skill points to spread. We've already done 3 here. So I would suggest enigmas are super important. So now that is 5 points we have spread on our archivist skills. And I think culture more than larceny for now, but I'm going to keep in mind to increase larceny maybe with some of my free skill dots later. For the Sorcerer, my skills were Artistry, Esoterica, and Science. And as this is a minor path, I only get a grand total of, let's see, I think it's only 4 dots for minor skills. No, 3 skill dots, my apologies. 3 skill dots for minor paths. So in this case, I think we'll go for Artistry, so that we've spent 4. That's 4. Oh no, we've already done 3. Oh, right, we're right. In that case, I may break my own rule, and I'm going to get rid of Science, and I'm going to bump Artistry up by 1. Lockhearty says, do you think the Curseborne Sorcerer system would work well to run a game similar to the book The Magicians? Absolutely. I mean, a lot of these spells are codified, but you'll be taught them by your mentor, or you'll manifest them via your damnation, by being cursed. But as I say, as you grow more powerful in Curseborne, not in the initial tier of play, you are going to be able to start building your own spells. I can well imagine that is happening. And so we need to spend 3 dots on our journalist skills, which we have already done by putting 1 dot in all of them, which is going to take us all the way through to finalizing our stats. We get 4 additional skill dots. And those 4, I'm going to put 2 of them in Larceny, which may surprise you. I'm going to put 1 of them in Pilot, so that we can drive away at speed. And actually, you know what? I'm going to put 2 in Pilot. I think my character is the kind of person, I'm thinking like Nightcrawler in the movie of that name, Jake Gyllenhaal's character. I don't think she's necessarily quite as evil as him, but he is driving to scenes, snapping photos, taking stories, maybe even setting up some crimes herself. So that gives her a bit of a nasty edge. We now have contacts, 5 dots to spread between them. I've not recorded the Damnation yet, but I will do shortly. We've got contacts, 5 dots to spread between them, 1 for each path. So we need a Sorcerer contact. We need an Archivist contact. And we need a Journalist contact. Well, the Journalist is going to be the easiest one. So the Journalist, I think, has got to be... I don't think we are the editor at the paper. I think we are a journalist at the paper. So I think this is going to be the editor-in-chief. It always helps to have someone you can call chief. Editor-in-chief, we're going to call him, because I'm feeling singularly uninspired at this point, Perry Gray. And he is going to be my mentor and also moneyed because, well, because he pays me. So that's 2 dots of contact spread there. Archivist. I think, well, Archivist is my major path. Well, Sorcerer is my minor path. So let's put the other 2 dots in Archivist here. I am going to get... Perry Jameson would have been a good name, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay, Archivist here. I think we're going to go for a relation here, maybe. Maybe I've got a cousin who is more prestigious than me. He's a war photographer. He is also in this business. I go around just picking up random gossip stories, potentially. He's going off to war zones and taking photographs. So we're going to call our cousin something. He's going to have a heroic-sounding name. You know, real 1980s action hero. So I think we're going to call him Todd. And his surname is going to be... Todd Blake. Todd Blake. And yes, Vladimir, I'm aware the thumbnail is from the previous stream. And Todd Blake is going to be an informant. And he is going to provide me with security as well. Because as much as there's a rivalry going on there, Todd Blake is also the closest thing I have to family. And then finally we have our Sorcerer contact. And I want this to be something a little weird. I think our Sorcerer contact is going to be some kind of outsider. So I'm going to go for... Hell, I'm going to go for the Bandyman, who is an adversary in the book. Someone who trades for fingers, thumbs, fingernails, pieces of your bowel, and other such lovely things. But he has a lot on his cart. We're going to go for the Bandyman, who is a kind of fey creature. And the Bandyman is going to have access to... I'm just going to consider this contact trade. So there we go. We are in good with the Bandyman, for whatever that counts. Probably not very much. We're going to skip bonds, because I'm creating this character independently, rather than as a party. So, what have I missed out on? I've done my skill dots, I've done my contacts, I've done my attributes, I need to do edges, I need to pick some spells. Let's get on to back to Damnation for a second. Because as a Damnation, sorcerers, they have a burning desire to use magic in any situation. The more they use their magic, the more they want to keep using it. Every time their cursed dice pool reaches 0, right now it's on 1, they lose control and they will use spells for absolutely every task. Absolutely every task until they start recovering cursed dice, which is what torments are for. Torments will earn us cursed dice. So, as Archivist is our major path, what we have got to basically sacrifice to end this damnation is knowledge, sanity, or secrets. And that means taking the confused, drained, lost, or terrified status effect. So this is going to be, she must sacrifice something meaningful to her, taking the lost status effect. If another major path sacrifice curse wouldn't be more appropriate. So in that case, what I'm going to say is I'm going to actually put them all in. And what do we need to sacrifice? As an Archivist, to end our damnation, we need to sacrifice knowledge, sanity, and secrets. And yes, what is the thumbnail, Gala Noob? It is a thumbnail from the previous stream. You can find it on my channel. I failed to change it, and it is the hottest source of discussion on this video. It will be changed once this video is done. By all means, look back in my back catalogue if you want to know what was going on in 5 Hearts Under One Roof. One hell of a game. You will come away from it feeling sick and filthy, as I'm sure Yumiko Harada occasionally does. So, what torments are we going for? Well, as an accursed... Well, let's go for our accursed torment first. Sorcerers get a choice of one of 3 torments for being accursed. They have curiosity kills. At the core of their nature, sorcerers are curious. When she gives into this torment, she cannot take any action that does not further her descent into a dangerous situation for the sake of learning something new. That seems like it's written for this character. Cursebound is the second option. Sorcerers are dabblers. Constant prodding often comes back to bite them. Whenever a character submits to this torment, they gain the unlucky status effect as curses enwreathe them. I do love the unlucky status effect. It's a lot of fun. And then we got unchecked hubris. Sorcerers may or may not have stolen their power, but however they claimed it, they got away with it. A character with this torment thinks they can get away with anything. When she succumbs, she's driven to attempt things that she shouldn't. This can range from taunting incredibly powerful beings to trying to steal priceless artifacts in plain sight. I feel like Curiosity Kills is the natural one, therefore I'm not going to go for it. Because I don't want to pigeonhole this character so completely. I want to go for Unchecked Hubris. I think getting into trouble is going to be a lot more fun. So a character with this torment, so Unchecked Hubris. There we go. That's not the full text, but it's what will fit in. As for personal torment, I can either come up with that myself or choose one from the book. Personal torments can be pretty much anything you damn well like. But let's see, some of the options in the book are indulge in my desire for violence, shut down and become cold and emotionless toward friends, go off alone because my curiosity is greater than my self-preservation. That might work, actually. Tug a mystery's thread despite the risk of the entire web unraveling. I think my character is a bit shy. She isn't used to having much affection or intimacy, so I'm going to go for this option here from the book. Push people away when they act on a positive attitude toward you. She is not sure how to handle that kind of thing. I think that could make for an interesting dilemma if we go for that one. So, before we get onto spells, let's look at edges. So, at character creation, you gain 5 edge dots. And the first place I always look is supernatural edges, because I think they're some of the most fun ones in the game. And the sorcerers have a couple of very good ones. Flexible spell casting is a 3-dot edge. When you take this gift, choose one spell attunement from the following list: elemental, magical, physical, psychic, or support. You can apply this attunement to all your spells, regardless of if it makes sense. Now this could very much help with our motif if liminal was one of those options. It isn't, so I don't think that's useful right now. So we'll skip that. So I think we could go for... I'm tempted to go for heirloom to take a relic or piece of powerful gear, because I don't think we've done that for any of our characters yet. But then we have this option. Thief of Lore. It's 2 dots. You know where your family keeps all its old tomes. You're adept at finding new magic. Sometimes that means learning something from someone you know. Other times it means stealing the information. Choose a single sorcerer spell practice that your family does not normally have access to. Gain access to it as though it were one of your own. I like that a lot. Now, I'm probably not going to need this one at character creation, but this is like thinking ahead. So I'm going to take Thief of Lore. I think that's a nice, fun edge. Now, we're going to look at investigation edges. I think having quick read, I think we've chosen quick read before. You master the cold read. First time you encounter a story guide character in the scene, you can ask the story guide a question, and they must answer honestly. Then again, that does tie... We've already kind of got that with our inheritance. Yeah, you know what? We have already got that. Let's go for well-read then. You're a regular bookworm. There's nothing you haven't devoured in a tome somewhere. When you make a culture or enigmas action, To investigate, you automatically gain an extra piece of evidence. So we'll go for well read. That's 1 dot. Now, what other ones could we do? We could go for influence edges. Aha! Here we go. Anonymity. Tie in to how we do not want to be known. At 2 dots of anonymity, your character has gone to the trouble of erasing herself from most records. Very Archivist-like. Attempts to track or identify her increase their difficulty by 2. Antagonists pursuing her must have a special dread power that allows them to hunt down targets, otherwise it automatically fails. That is going to be very, very useful for this character who doesn't like to be in the spotlight. So let's zoom in a little on spells now. Okay, so we've done our edges. So let's look at spells now, because at character creation we will gain a grand total of 3 spells. And we can choose from the illusion, spiritualism, or telelocation practices. So here's some options, and remember we're looking for ones that have the liminal tag, the liminal attunement if possible. So let's think. As hallucination, create some phantasmagoria. Yeah, that could work for the character. Body double, that is liminal. You create an identical copy of yourself within medium range. It follows your exact movements, actions, and words as though it were a mirror. It fools the senses, even making those guided by sound. This could be very good. We do like to distract people from where we are. I'm very tempted by body double. Yeah, there are the abilities FML-H to charm people as well. We have the... I would suggest the practice we want to go for is another sorcerer practice. We want to go for acquisition because of our edge we chose earlier. We may not populate it yet, but that's what I'm going to go for. Body double. So this one I note as liminal, because that's going to mean our motif helps. It's a bleed 1 curse die, so I'm going to put B1 instead of H1. This is how I've started structuring these things. So the description is... Hey, you can't see this. Okay. You create an identical copy of yourself as a phantasmagoria within medium range. Anyone attempting to target your character at range must overcome a major complication, otherwise they target the body double. So that's good. That's very, very good. So we now have access to spiritualism. We could take another one from illusion, come to think of it. There is camouflage. Touch an object no larger than what you can fit in the palm of your hand. Make it appear as something different. That could be useful for investigation, couldn't it? There's overload. Make a ranged attack. No, we're not much of a combatant. Prestige. You can see through a single type of magical illusion chosen when you activate this spell. You know what? As an investigative journalist type, as this character is becoming, I think having access to prestige is actually going to be pretty useful. So we're going to do that. So that isn't liminal. This one has the magical tag, and you need to hold 3 whole dice for it. But that is going to be worth it, I think. So, yeah, spiritualism now. We could, for example, draw the attention of incorporeal beings. I'm not sure this is really the best option for this character. Formless barricade, no. Present dismissal, we can banish the undead. Psychic barrage, make a ranged attack using esoterica. And the double 9 quality, or ring silent bells, activate the spell as a reflexive action to convey a message to either all supernatural beings in your general area or to a specific supernatural being you know. That could be handy, but what can really be handy is I'm looking at telelocation right now, and what I'm thinking is I want to use something like extra dimensional pocket so that I can basically access something that is not present, or I'm going to use something like portal. Telekinesis is, of course, quite a useful one as well. And then there's teleport. I don't want to always be running away, so I'm going to go for extra dimensional pocket. This is going to be what actually makes me more useful as part of the group. If I can actually... and it's liminal again. if I can grab things for the party at short notice. And I'm noting acquisition as extra practice because I got one for my Thief of Law edge up here. And while I haven't bought a spell for it yet, when my character first starts earning experience, it's going to go towards one of the acquisition spells. I'm thinking we're probably going to go for something like Social Saboteur or Simpatico. Social Saboteur basically allows us to wear down someone's integrity and make people fall out of favour with each other. Simpatico basically allows me to resolve a status effect on any character within medium range. I'm thinking of my character's development, basically. Right now, she is very much focused on what she's good at, rather than where she plays as part of a crew. And once I've formed a crew and built some bonds, I'm going to want to develop the character more in that direction. So, some aspirations next, I guess. So, short-term aspiration is going to be turn story in on before deadline. Another short-term aspiration is going to be find a crew to join, because I'm lonely. And my long-term aspiration is write a front pager. I do have aspirations. And there is our character. We have now created a sorcerer in the form of Yumiko Harada. And head sock goatlock 4 says social sabotage to test people's limits and such. Yeah, that is what I will basically take if I ever play this character and start building them up with experience. Yeah, social sabotage is very likely to see play, I think. So, that is that. We have created a character, and we've done it very, very fast. As always, I always like to say that, especially in a character creation session that takes an hour or so, this one took about 40 minutes after all the preamble. Most of the time when you're playing Curseborne, character creation isn't going to be as long as this. It's because I'm having to talk through every single step of the way. When you play Curseborne, you're probably going to whip up a character in about 20 to 30 minutes without any difficulty. And so you should be able to get playing in the same session you do character creation. Build it into a session 0. And yeah, that is Yumiko Harada. Hopefully she will live a long and happy life. I will upload this character sheet to the Curseborne Discord on the Onyx Path Discord. And if you haven't pre-ordered Curseborne yet, please consider doing so. If you do so today and contact me through MatthewDawkins.com, you can request a video of your choice. Just send me the order number and let me know that you've done it. Again, you'll find the link to pre-order Curseborne in the description below. And then contact me through MatthewDawkins.com. There's a contact button. Tell me your order number and you can request a video. So get an RPG and get a video for free. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. That was a nice, easy one, wasn't it? I found that lovely and simple. And I hope, and James Ellsbury, this character was your concept, so thanks so much for the suggestion. I will be seeing you, and we will meet again very, very soon. Thanks all for watching.